Now, what word comes to your mind when describing President Trump? Now, Quinnipiac University recently asked that question in one of their polls, and the results are hilarious/disastrous for President Trump. Now, first off, it's no surprise that he has been losing big league among his voters, even among his base. Now, while voters with white voters with no college degree, white men, and independent voters, people that he actually did very well with, he's starting to lose these people. Now, his approval rating now is a overall negative 35 to 57% score. So 35 disapproval, 35 approval, 57 disapproval. Now, that is his lowest approval rating since becoming president. So let's break this down a little further. Now, he has a negative 29 to 63% approval rating among independents. That is down from a negative 38 to 56% the last time that they asked this question. That was in April 19th. So in a very short amount of time, he has had a massive amount of disapproval. Love it. So now, it's split among white voters with no college degree. 47% approve and 46% disapprove of him. Now, that is worse compared to the last poll, April 19th, which had a 57 to 38% approval rating. So again, that's down almost 10 points. Now, white men as a whole go from a 53 to 41% approval rating in April 19th to a split today of 48% approving and 46% disapproval. So sad. It looks like his base is starting to turn against him because, look, they're finding out that he is the very same establishment that's been crushing them all along. That he is a snake oil salesman and he is a fraud. Now, in fact, these new results are disastrous compared to what they were before. 63% believe that he is not honest. 56% say that he does not have good leadership skills. That is actually very little change since the last poll. 59% of Americans believe that he does not care about average people, compared to 57%. So, again, more that has increased. 66% say that he is not level-headed. That has increased. 62% say that he is a strong person. Now, that's very interesting. We'll get back to that in a minute. Now, 56% say that he is intelligent, compared to 58% in the previous poll. And 64% say that he does not share their values, compared to 61% in a previous poll. Now, again, that is the one positive. That's one of the few positive things they actually say about him is that, well, he's strong. He's strong. Okay. Well, that makes sense because why people chose him to be a leader, because, well, he is strong. Americans seem to like strength, or at least a certain amount of Americans like to see strong leadership, even if that leadership is horrible. But anyway, now Quinnipiac also asked, what is the first word that comes to your mind when you think of Donald Trump? Now, these numbers, these are not percentages. This is just the number of times that each response has to have been given. Now, the number one response to that question, what is the first word that comes to mind when you think of Donald Trump? Idiot. 39 responses for the word idiot. The next one, incompetent, 31 times. Liar, 30 times. Leader, which is a positive, 25 times. President, 22. And unqualified, 25. And finally, strong. Now, I mean, there's a lot of them. There's ignorant, 16. Businessman, 18. Egotistical, 15. Asshole, 13. Arrogant, 12. Stupid, 13. Trying at 12. Business at 11. Bully at 11. Narcissist at 11. Successful at 11. Disgusting, 10. Great, 10. And clown at 9. So, idiot, 39. Wow, that's the number one response that you get when you ask people, hey, what do you think of Donald Trump? Well, I think he's an idiot. Now, Tim Malloy, assistant director of the Quinnipiac poll, said of these numbers, quote, there is no way to spin or sugarcoat these staggering numbers. The erosion of white men, white voters without college degrees, and independent voters The declaration by voters that President Donald Trump's first 100 days were mainly a failure, and deepening concerns about Trump's honesty, intelligence, and level-headedness are red flags that the administration can't simply brush away. Now, of course, watch as in the future, Donald Trump's administration is going to try to brush it away. Just watch. You know it. More results. American voters disapprove by a wide margin of the way that Trump is handling the economy. 44% approve of the way he's handling the policy towards North Korea. 48% disapprove. 59% disapprove of the way he's handling foreign policy overall. 45% approve of the way he's handling terrorism. Why he hasn't really done a whole lot yet. I thought he was supposed to beat ISIS within the first 30 days. Whatever happened to that? The ISIS. We're going to take out ISIS first 30 days. Okay, and well, it's been a little more than 30 days, dude. It was one of those campaign promises that at least people who were paying attention and know how things actually work knew he wasn't going to do anything. But anyway, now, as far as immigration, 62% disapprove of the way he is handling that. Now, one thing that actually might go to his advantage is media. Turns out, as we've been saying all along, a lot of Americans very distrust the media. Very, very much so. In fact, American voters disapprove by a margin of 58 to 37% of the way the news media covers Donald Trump. However, on the other hand, voters also disapprove by a margin of 65 to 31% of the way that Trump talks about the media. So if Trump were to stop saying, okay, failing New York Times, disaster, they're sad, and stop saying that and stop saying, oh, media is so unfair, and just starts going, oh, we're just going to put out our, our story, our side of the story without going after the media, well, that actually might be able to, he might be actually able to turn the distrust of the media into his favor. He is not doing that. Instead, he's attacking New York Times. He's attacking journalists. Just yesterday, I reported on Capitol Police arresting a veteran journalist for asking Tom Price a question. Americans don't like that. Americans might not be happy about what the media is saying about Trump, how they're treating Trump, but they're also very, very unhappy about him, the way that he's treating the media back. Because, look, I think the American public expects our elected officials to not be children, to not act like babies when somebody says something bad about them. So, there's that. Now, voters also trust the media more than Trump by a margin of 57 to 31% to tell the truth about important issues. That's also really important. So, now I mentioned earlier, what about the first 100 days? Now, according to 58% of voters, the first 100 days have been mainly a failure, while 38% say they have been mainly a success. Well, look, let's be honest. I do think that they've been fairly successful. Look at all the executive orders. They've eliminated a lot of things, a lot of changes that President Obama had made. A lot of those executive orders, when it comes to climate change, have been removed. So I guess if you hate the climate, then you think, absolutely, what a success. I love it. But I think he has been successful at destroying a lot of President Obama's positive agenda when it comes to climate change. So I guess if you want to say that it's a success, well, that's a success for you. Now, how does this help the Democrats? Now, I'm going to give you some numbers that are going to be very interesting, and we're going to have a little conversation of what the Democrats should do to take advantage. Because, look, it's obvious this is a sinking ship. So what about the Democrats right now? Well, it turns out by a margin of 54 to 38%, American voters want the Democratic Party to win control of the U.S. House of Representatives. Now, this is the widest margin. This is very important. The widest margin ever measured for this question in a Quinnipiac poll. That exceeds a 5 percentage point margin for the Republicans in 2013. That is far more than 5%. The widest margin. The American people are like, get the Democrats in there to check Trump. We do not like Republican rule. We don't like Republicans running everything. We would like to have a little bit of balance. So we would like to have the Democrats win the House. Now, I don't know how likely that's going to be. The census is in 2020. Well, and we know that there's been a lot of gerrymandering back in 2010 when the last census was done. And Republicans in 2020, well, look, again, I don't have a lot of faith that the Democrats are going to win the House. It's got to be a sweep. It has to be a huge, huge number of people that show up. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe they won't. Now, 41% of respondents also said that if Democrats won control of the House, they said, or 41% of those respondents say that it would be a better thing if the Democrats had won control of the Senate in 2016. Now, 27% say that America would be in a worse place, and 30% say it would actually be the same. So that's a big majority. And it turns out that even the Democrats are more popular than the Republican Party. Apparently, American voters dislike Democrats less than they dislike Republicans. It's interesting framing. Voters disapprove 71 to 22% the way the Republicans in Congress do their jobs, and only 58% to 34% of people disapprove of the way the Democrats in Congress are doing their job. So look, let me be honest, those are disastrous, abysmal numbers for both parties. The American people overwhelmingly dislike the way that both parties are doing because, look, they don't serve the people, right? They serve the donors. But even in serving the donors, at least the Democrats don't punch you in the face as well, like many of the Republicans happen to do. But the solution is not just to get Democrats elected. That's a false solution. What the real solution is to actually get progressives elected that don't serve the donors, that actually serve you. Because look, right now, this is ripe for a huge upset. Congress. Republicans and Trump are deeply, deeply unpopular. If the Democrats actually decide to run two true progressives in 2018, and then a progressive populist candidate in 2020, I don't know, maybe somebody like Bernie Sanders, who was the most popular politician in America, would seem to make sense. And according to establishment logic, by the way, whose turn it should be to become the next front runner. That's not me saying it. That's establishment logic. I mean, after all, that's what they said about Hillary Clinton. Like, oh, no, it's her turn. She lost to Barack Obama in 2008, so it was her turn in 2016. Well, by that logic, Bernie Sanders lost a primary, and a lot of you can argue that, no, the primary was stolen from him. You won't get much pushback from me on that. It must be his turn next. Well, okay, well, you've got your front runner for 2020. Nobody else should run against Bernie Sanders. I'm not saying it. They're saying it. That's DNC logic. Let's see if that happens. But if that actually does happen, well, then Democrats would actually maul the Republicans and be on track to actually do real progressive change. After all, that's what we want, right? Now, it seems like, ironically, getting into power might have actually been the worst thing to happen to the Republicans and Trump. As for the corporate Democrats, I got a message for you. Your time is coming to an end. We're going to primary you guys. And then, with the people behind us, because the people vastly dislike Republicans and Republican policies, and they vastly favor up, or they're vastly in favor of progressive policies and actual progressives. Well, with those people behind us, we're going to crush the Republicans, and then we're going to crush Donald Trump. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.